Introverts. We occupy about 1/3 to half the population, yet there's so much misconception about us. Some people think we are shy, quiet, and reserved. Well, you're not totally wrong, but you're definitely not right. Others have thought that we are lame, boring, or depressed. Okay, now you're just being judgmental. I'm an introvert. Growing up, I've always been known as a quiet kid. All my report cards, all my teachers have always commented that Shanq is a very quiet kid, he needs to speak up more in class. They even get to this point where sometimes I was just sitting alone, eating my lunch, with a serious face of mine that does not help. People have actually came up to me and asked, "Are you alright? Is everything okay? Why you look so depressed?" When all I am doing is just having my lunch. And the thing about being quiet is that people seem to form a lot of opinion about you not participating in groups and not being part of a team. In fact, one of my tutors in medical school, he actually commented that he's worried about me coping in med school because I'm so quiet. Well, I'm a doctor now, so clearly being quiet has nothing to do with being able to cope. But this is just some of the few misconceptions about introverts. If we are quiet, people always thought that we are not participating, learning, or contributing. Yet, this is not the case. Introverts, by nature, we are quiet people. And yet, we are actually great thinkers. What we make up by not speaking out randomly, we make up by listening, observing, and contributing when we feel it's necessary. So what exactly is an introvert? To be honest, it's actually quite difficult to answer the question. And the reason behind that is introverts all the way to extroverts is actually a spectrum. There is no one quality that would fit to either category. You may find there are some introverts that are shy and quiet, yet you may also find introverts that are shy, quiet but not shy. For example, people like Bill Gates, he's great with crowds, yet he's definitely an introvert. It's really difficult to answer the question, but I guess if I were to put it down to a single sentence which relates to me would be someone who values time with themselves and their loved ones. And personally, I think that this is an important issue that we should be talking about. It's because the society values extroverts. There is no two ways about it. And because of that, most of us are pressured to behave as extroverts. Think about the time you went for a job interview. They are always looking out for people who are energetic, people who are loud, people who can contribute. And if you do not speak up, you're not a team player. Yet we all know that this is not the case. Being loud and energetic doesn't necessarily translate to being a great worker or a great leader. And yet, people who are quiet, reserved, does not necessarily mean that they are not a good team leader and they are not a good team player. So this misconception drives the notion of an extrovert ideal, which Susan Cain has mentioned in her book. As a result, most of us are pressured to fit ourselves into that category in order to survive in society. The thing is, it is not that an introvert does not contribute or that we are slow thinkers. In fact, most introverts are great thinkers. We just prefer to think carefully, understand, to reply rather than just reply for the sake of replying. And personally, this is a message that I wish someone would have told me when I was growing up. Which is why part of the reason why I'm making this video is so that people who are introverts or people who are shy would know that there is nothing wrong being an introvert. When I was growing up, I was experimenting and I thought that introverts are weird, are abnormal. So I tried something really stupid, which is being an extrovert. I started going out more, started socializing more, started to speak up even though there was nothing useful that I can contribute. And as a result, it drained me. I wasn't happy because that is not me. And this is what I always tell people. People will only like you for who you are. And even if you put up an image, people will eventually find out because that is not you. We are taught as if being an introvert is wrong and we need to deviate from it to be a member of society. However, I think that this misconception can be very harmful. By having a notion of what is a member of society means that people who are quiet and reserved would find it very difficult to cope to this particular standard, and this in turn can result in unnecessary social anxiety and feelings of inferior complexity. My point of this entire video is that introversion is not an illness and it is not something that needs to be cured. Everyone is unique in their own ways. If you're someone who is shy or if you're an introvert, this is a very important message for you. Do not change who you are. We are all unique individuals, and we should not change who we are just to fit the definition of normal. At the end of the day, people will like you for who you are. Never change yourself believing that it could help you fit in. People don't have to like you, they just have to accept you. Embrace the difference. We all have our strength in our own ways. Just because it deviates from the norm does not mean that it's wrong. Different is good in the sense where sometimes it can give you a new perspective of things. If Rosa Parks did not stand against racism, nobody would have heard of her. If Bill Gates did not invent Microsoft, we will all be using Mac today. You do not need to be an extrovert to be great leaders. And in fact, introverts make greater leader because of our ability to observe and think. As Jay Shetty have said, the difference is what makes us powerful, effective, and needed. Lastly, be adaptable. Now, I'm not saying that it is okay for you to be shy or quiet. That is just being lazy. It is not being an introvert. As Warren Buffett, or what Emily likes to call War Buffett, have said, even if you have the greatest idea in the world, if you do not communicate it, no one's going to know about it. Okay, so social skills and charisma is something that can be practiced, something that can be trained. We need to push ourselves beyond our comfort zone, but at a level that's comfortable to us. Often, introverts adopt this state of pseudo-extroversion to help us function in areas in which we feel we are lacking in. But just as it is important to develop new skills and improve ourselves, we also need to remember that we need to unwind and recharge. So like how extroverts gain their energy by hanging out with other people, we as introverts need to gain our energy by unwinding and spending quality time with ourselves. If you think that introverts can't be assertive, bold, or successful, think again. After all, why fit in when you are born to stand out?